mean, look at football, right? Just you know, the British invented it, and everyone did it. Yeah.
Are you sure about that?
Yes.
And cricket as well,
How
right?
sure are you about that?
I'm pretty sure about that.
How sure are you about that?
I'm pretty sure.
Let's get a fact check on that.
I'm almost 100% sure that we invented
Which country invented football or soccer,
Soccer,
God forbid.
whatever.
God forbid you say
So
it.
we got an international audience. We have to say soccer, even though, even though it pains me.
Did we make that?
Yeah.
I feel like we didn't.
Why?
I feel like every country made football.
What do you mean every country
Like
football?
every fucking country figured out that you kick a fucking thing around into a goal. Like, no, you know what I mean? Like, you can say that, oh, the UK made it, but I bet the like Babylonians were kicking heads into some fucking...
I'm so glad we have a fact checker.
It's England.
Oh, it is
Yeah,
England.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
Maybe, okay. I refuse to believe, right, that England made
karma compilation.
England is the country that saw a spherical shaped thing and was like, we should start kicking this around and turn it into a sport. They probably like legitimized it and made it into like a
No.
fucking.
Did they invent the sport? Yes. Did they invent the concept of kicking around objects? Probably not. You know, probably like the fucking cavemen were kicking.
Okay, I agree on that. Okay.
Cavemen were kicking beheaded heads around probably at one point.
They have multiple sources. Some say China, some say Italy, some say Greece.
I feel like every country could have a claim to like, we're the first guys who invented kicking around things, you know?
Well, that's like saying like who invented baseball and who was the first human to ever get a long object and hit a fucking spherical thing with it.
But there's what's the word? There's very like primitive versions of sports where maybe a place with a group of people played this game and it was a tradition where they played it, but it was never officially like a sport or anything.
But now the real question
Yeah.
is, what's the oldest sport?
What
What was the first sport?
probably,
Who invented sport?
I'm gonna be honest, fighting to the death.
Yeah, probably UFC. That's probably the oldest sport.
Fighting to the death. I mean, come on, let's just be straight. It probably was.
Yeah.
That's true.
I mean, was it a sport or was it just an activity?
It was just some bands, wasn't it?
Well, sport
Killing your homies with bands.
Sport goes really far back. I mean, you have the whole the Greeks, right? Way
the
back.
Olympics.
The Olympics, the
and then you
original
have like
Olympics, right?
they would have the Olympiads.
Yeah.
And trained, and then they were. I mean, I think that was the first ever documented people who just trained for sport, not for like war.
Yeah.
As far as I remember.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean,
Could be wrong.
I
Could
feel
make shit
like,
up.
I feel like a lot of sport was born out of activities that were probably life or death activities back in the day.
Yeah.
And then when society evolved to a point where they don't need to fucking kill each other, they're like, but we kind of still want to like hit each other and, you know, and do all this
throw
fun
shit.
thing. Yeah, do all this fun stuff, you know.
I think we have some facts.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty correct. The first sport was wrestling.
Wrestling.
Oh, wrestling.
Oh, that makes sense.
I mean, are you telling me that like it just seems so right for the primal brain?
Yeah.
For our monkey brains, like the first thing we want to do is just start seeing. It's like, I don't want to fight, but I want to watch the big two guy. I want to watch the two big guys fight. Like that sounds good. I mean, that's the whole fun. Like, I mean, to this day,
Yeah.
that's still really popular.
I mean, it's you see a fight and there's just something primal about it, you know.
Just makes you want to go,
Yeah. Kind of, right?
There's a
kind
reason
of.
why like the subreddits of like fucking people fighting on the street is like super popular.
World
Yeah.
Star.
I don't fucking know. Like, people love this shit. They love it.
I mean, I don't think it's a coincidence that, you know, back when I go out clubbing or whatever, back when, you know, lads culture was a massive thing. You'd see so many guys.
As in dancing. I thought you meant like clubbing.
No, yeah.
Dancing is one drink away from fighting.
Yeah. Look, basically, you see a load of lads out, you know, and either they'd try to get with girls, and if they didn't succeed, then add alcohol in that, and you'd, like, most of the time, you'd see a fight somewhere in a club, you know? And I think that just goes back to there's just something primal about that, right?
Yeah, that's what like the cavemen did
It's
as well.
either sex or violence. That's, you know, that's...
Well, now we have the beta male generation where nobody wants to fight each other, and we have these docile brains, and we've been brainwashed by 5G.
These herbivore men.
By 5Gs. We're the bottom of the food chain now, you know?
That's my favorite new term.
Herbivore man.
Bro, you're emitting some herbivore energy right now.
I'm a carnivore right now, baby. I want that meat.
Oh my god, that's such a better word than beta. I just
Yeah.
want to call people
Herbivores.
herbivores.
We are probably
You're
the
such a
most
fucking herbivore.
of all the popular podcasts. We're probably the most beta podcast. I think we are. We never like relish in fights or enjoy the masculinity of men. We just kind of just been like,
Bro, I've
so-
been eating salads every day. I'm definitely this close to being a fucking herbivore, man. Are you
I don't
kidding
think
me?
we've ever had like an alpha conversation. Like any.
What constitutes as an alpha conversation, Connor? In your mind?
I mean, when you play clips of our podcast, aside
Yeah.
Joe Rogan jokes like, there's a man who can crack a skull open up in Ethiopia, and he drinks the flesh of the brain stem to claim that he's the chief of the tribe. You know, that's like the conversations they have. And I watch ours, and I'm like, why is everyone watching our podcast?
I don't like oranges.
We're so boring. Yeah, literally, like
The economy.
we're so boring. Like,
Pizza crust.
I like my chicken without
I'm
bones.
in my high chair talking about boneless, like I watched that and I'm like, why is anyone watching our podcast?
That's what the real Sigma males talk about.
Because there's a
come
lot
on.
of herbivores out there.
Hello, fellow
then I-
herbivores.
herbivores.
But then maybe it's because it's like our podcast doesn't try to be fake. I try to be this kind of manly ass. It's like, wait, listen, we're all betas. We're all betas here.
I have a wife. I don't need to attract fellow
Yeah, but it's not about
fellow
that.
women anymore.
It's
You know.
about ensuring that even when you're an alpha, that you're still an alpha. You're not like tied down to one beta woman.
Well, also we're not trying to. We don't have a course that we're trying to sell.
No,
you
we
know,
don't.
we
No,
don't, we
that's
don't
true.
have the alpha course.
You're right.
Actually, now we would like to announce the herbivore course.
Herbivore
The
course.
herbivore
It's about
course.
eating well.
Yeah.
Just,
Tuck
Good
your
lifestyle.
testicles away, gentlemen. You won't be needing those.
it's about just getting a really good score on Scrabble and making sure that like your brain age is
Making sure that your 401k
just
is
kinda-
up to date.
Yeah.
honestly make sure you just
Are
make
you keeping up with your daily wordles? You know.
Yeah,
Just-
make sure you
just
stay in touch with your
exercise-
parents, have a healthy
exercise,
relationship with them.
exercise,
Just
yeah.
kind of everything really.
Phone your mum. Phone your mum. When's the last time you talked to your mum?
You don't need a Sigma
Maybe that's
body.
the appeal. In a world with these alpha wannabe podcasts, it's nice to have a beta boy podcast. You know,
Beta boy podcast.
maybe that's the appeal.
Herbivores. I prefer the term.
I like beta
herbivores.
boys.
Beta boys.
Betavores.
We're not gonna fucking market ourselves as that. Connor. Don't make that a
That's
thing.
like a double negative.
Or maybe it's Sigma that we don't care about being alpha. So we're the Sigma beta.
I mean, I
boys.
feel like you could
The
turn.
Sigma
I feel
Sigma
like you could turn any mindset into being a Sigma mindset
That's true,
because all
actually.
you need to do is make a meme and just put like the Giga Chad chin
Yeah.
next to an image of whatever like mindset you
I
want.
want an edit of the Giga Chad guy eating a salad.
Do you
That's
li- do
that's
you-
that's our podcast in a
Do you
nutshell.
listen to other podcasts or any of those?
I don't have time anymore,
Yeah,
man.
true.
Yeah, I actually had time for Trash Taste, and I realized I'm on one. I listen to you guys enough. I don't need to listen to more guys talking.
Yeah, same.
Do you have anything for us, Carl? You look like you want to say something. Oh, okay, sorry.
He's just intently
Yeah.
listening to our
I
conversation.
used to try and listen to other podcasts. I used to try and listen to the Joe Rogan one when he'd have a really exciting guest, and some of them were fun.
I've listened to a few Joe Rogan ones
when he
has
some
good guests.
Yeah, when he has
yeah,
some
yeah.
guests that I really were interested in, and say what you will, he does sometimes have a good way of getting conversation to
Yeah.
flow in a certain way.
I mean, there
do
is
I
a-
agree with his opinions? Fuck no.
No.
But is he sometimes a good host? I mean, there's a reason why he's. So
I was going to
popular.
say there's a reason why he's as successful as he is.
It sucks sometimes that we have to preface like, I don't like his views, and it's like I can't just be like, the man's a good host. There's a
Yeah.
reason why he's doing well.
Yeah.
But that doesn't automatically mean that I agree with everything he says, which I agree with barely anything he says.
No.
Well, I don't think there's anything wrong with listening to another viewpoint that you might not necessarily agree.
No,
with.
I agree. I agree, yeah.
Like I think, in fact, that helps you keep a more open mind and
Yeah.
have a healthier mindset. Because I do it all the time. Even like it's weird because there's been times in like my, let's say, internet history where I've got like the odd comment of just like, oh, why is Gigok subscribed to this person or following this person? He must follow their views or something. And I'm like, no, like I think sometimes I just want to see what that guy's saying just to see how the other side thinks sometimes or how that view of that person is like put out there.
Yeah.
Because I think it's important to at least know what everyone's saying. Otherwise, you're just going to be stuck in your own little bubble.
If anything, like a lot of the YouTubers I like watching, like podcast or not, are the ones where I barely ever agree with what they're actually saying. But
Yeah.
the way that they frame that opposite opinion that they might have to me is
Yeah.
so interestingly presented that it just makes me listen. And like at the end of the video, I might not agree with it necessarily, but I'm like, well, it was still a good video because now I got a better, more, I guess, nuanced opinion of the other side. And it's, as you said, it opens up, like, I love watching Needle Drop for that reason. Because, like, I barely ever agree with the opinions he has on music.
Right.
But it's still interesting to hear his opinion.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay, you know, I might not agree with that opinion necessarily, but the way that he phrased that particular opinion makes me think about all of my other opinions on other shit that I might have, because
Yeah.
it just opens me up to a new idea, if that makes sense.